Hey guys, my name is Liam for GoneJeeping.com. Today I'm with my friend Brandon and I have a huge treat for you, or should I say he has a huge treat for you. He just so happens to own a Willys MB, or the military Jeep, as well as a CJ-2A. As far as the timeline goes, it really went from this Jeep to this Jeep, and so we're going to show what is different and what is similar between the two. Alright you guys, we're going to start at the front of each of these Jeeps because some of the majority of the changes that we're going to talk about today actually happened right here at the front of the vehicle. So what's different between this guy and this guy?
So I think the first big difference is the grille, the headlamps. The MB has these smaller headlamps that are sunken into the grille a little bit, versus the CJ has these flush mounted, much larger headlamps. And then you'll notice the grille, the MB actually has a 9-slot grille, if you can believe it, versus the CJ-2A has a 7-slot grille. So the CJ-2A was the first Jeep to have that 7-slot grille that now is synonymous with Wranglers and pretty much any other Jeep that's made today.
That's right. That's really interesting too, because I've had conversations with people where they're talking about the 7-slot and how it is quintessential to Jeep, and the reality is it all started with 9.
Yeah.
Do you think that had something to do with just keeping these cool? I mean, the MBs, they saw so much life in the field. You think that had something to do with it, or is it just purely a design change?
Yeah, and the MB, and I don't want to go into too much history here, but the MB actually started out with a grill that was made out of welded together angle iron. It was called a slat grill. So the first 25,000 MBs were made with that slat grill. Then when World War II started, after Pearl Harbor and the US got involved in the Second World War, the government realized they were going to need way more Jeeps than Willys Overland could possibly build. So Ford Motor Company was brought on as a second supplier. And when Ford was reviewing the blueprints of the MB, to eventually create the Ford GPW, they looked at the grill and said, hey, this slat grill is really inefficient. It takes a long time to produce. And so they developed this stamped 9-slot grill that then also ended up being put on the MB. And then when the CJ-2A was developed, and I don't know the exact reason, I don't know if it's since Ford developed this 9-slot grill, they own the rights to it, so Willys couldn't use the 9-slot grill, or if it was shrunk down from 9 to 7 simply because they added these larger headlamps on the CJ-2A that required eating into some of the space for the slots, and so because of that they removed the 2 outer slots and created 7. I don't know the reason, but that's a little bit of the history on the grill and how the slat grill became the 9-slot, which became the 7-slot.
Very cool. So I guess we can blame Ford for the 9, and we can
exactly.
We can attribute the 7-slot to the CJ. Very cool. Now, as we work our way down, I'm seeing one big difference in the bumpers, and it's kind of a silly one because you probably wouldn't normally think that a hole in the bumper is that significant. But in another video that we did, you actually showed me that we can start these Jeeps with a hand crank, right?
Yeah, correct. So you'll notice on the MB, there's a big hole in the front bumper, and that's for the hand crank, so you can hand start it. And you'll notice the CJ-2A front bumper, it also has this large hole for the hand crank, but then it also has 2 smaller holes on either side. And the CJ-2A was designed for agricultural use, and if you've got a plow on the back of this 2A and you've got it on the ground, it makes the front end of these a little light. So Willys developed as a factory accessory a cast iron counterweight. It was about 225 pounds, just a giant chunk of cast iron that was designed to fit between the front bumper and the grill. And it was obviously the weight of it itself is going to keep it pretty secure in there. But for extra security, they wanted to use some bolts to secure it. And that's what these 2 holes in the front bumper on the CJ-2A was for securing that cast iron counterweight.
Who knew that a couple holes had so much story behind them?
So another difference between the MB and the CJ-2A is actually in the steering geometry, the steering setup. You'll notice the MB the steering bell crank that's connected to the two tie rods is actually mounted on the front axle. They had some problems with that. Under heavy braking, the axle kind of rolls forward, and as a result, the front wheels actually get turned slightly to the left, which is problematic if you encounter any traffic coming from the other direction. Is under heavy braking, you're actually getting steered towards that oncoming traffic. So when the CJ-2A was being engineered, they actually redesigned that steering linkage, that geometry, and placed that steering bell crank, actually mounted it to this front cross member on the frame as opposed to on the front axle, and that just kept things more secure, and they eliminated that problem that they had with steering into oncoming traffic.
Okay, so there's a couple improvements that were made from experience with the MB that they transitioned into the 2A. But I think a minute ago we were just talking about, this is something that we actually think they did better on the MB, which was how they fastened down the windshield. What's different about the windshields? Well, maybe not so much the windshield, but how they fastened down on these two Jeeps.
Yeah, so they both have these wood blocks for the windshield to rest on. The only difference being is that the MB actually has this cotton webbing padding, whereas the CJ-2A just has a solid piece of wood. And then the MB actually has these nice little spring-loaded latches for securing the windshield, very basically just like the hood latches. But then the CJ-2A, maybe just to save cost, they switched to a simple cotton strap for securing the windshield as opposed to these nice spring-loaded latches.
Something I like about the way the 2A does it is this cotton strap feels more farm life-like. And this feels more military, which is great because this is for military and this is for farming.
It works pretty well.
It works effortlessly, but I definitely think that the solution over here, although maybe higher in cost, might be a little bit more robust. So that's interesting that they transitioned. All right, working our way back in the Jeep, we're going to look under the driver's seat. There's something kind of strange sitting under the driver's seat, or at least in my opinion. What is going on under here?
So this giant box underneath the driver's seat is actually the fuel tank. It's a 15-gallon tank on the MB, and it actually extends down beneath the plane of the front floor. You've got an extra 5 gallons in a sump under here. And then you'll notice there's no obvious fuel cap or way to fill this tank. And so on the MB, the fuel fill is actually underneath the driver bottom cushion. And you just fold this up, and then you've got your fuel fill cap right here.
Where is that on the CJ-2A?
So we'll come around to the CJ-2A, and the fuel tank is in the exact same spot. Obviously, a couple big differences. There's now an external fuel fill cap, so it's not underneath the driver's seat cushion. And then being a 10-gallon tank, it doesn't have that extra 5-gallon sump underneath the front floor. So it's all housed above the plane of the front floor.
All right, so there you go. You had a little bit more fuel capacity in the MB than the 2A, but the 2A is going to definitely keep that tank a little bit more neat and tidy and secure. And then you can fill it from the outside. You don't even have to get out of the vehicle in some cases. And we talk about that in the other video about this Jeep. Not to plug, watch that video. Okay. Now that we're over at the 2A, we talked about this in our other video. We've got these mechanisms over here, or not really mechanisms, they're just holders. And that you were telling me was for the soft top. But that's a little bit different than the MB because the MB's got tools on the side, right?
Yeah, so the MB, if you look underneath the driver door opening, it's got a shovel and it's got an axe. The CJ does not have those, but it has a much more complicated top mechanism. So you've got this multi-piece canvas top, and it's supported by a bunch of kind of a bow framework, a bunch of pieces that all clip together. And when you've got this top broken down, you can actually store those pieces of the bows in these pockets on the side of the body. The vertical pieces will fit in these pockets here, and then the horizontals will fit underneath the front windshield.
And if we walk over to the MB, we can take a look at how different the soft top framing is then going to be.
So the MB, the canvas top is actually one piece, and the bows are also one piece, and they fold up nice and tight right on the body, and then they unfold and clip into these pockets when you want to raise them to support the soft top. So a lot less loose pieces, a lot less parts to get lost in a battlefield or wartime situation.
Now, speaking of stuff getting lost, one of the best ways to keep things from getting lost is putting it in some kind of storage, right?
Yep.
And so let's take a look at some of the storage on the MB and compare that to the later CJ-2A.
So the MB had a lot of nice storage solutions. You had these tool boxes mounted in the rear wheel wells, really nice for storing tools or whatever else. Also had this really nice glove box as well for storing whatever.
Now on the 2A, if we come over here, got a little bit of a different system.
So the 2A, it does not have those nice tool boxes in the rear wheel wells. Instead, it actually has a large toolbox mounted underneath the front passenger seat. But the one thing that the CJ-2A does not have an equal for is the glove box. There is simply no glove box on the CJ-2A. It's just a flat dashboard with the data plate on it. My guess is they were trying to save cost when they were developing the CJ-2A, and they saw the glove box. Getting rid of that is an easy way to cut down cost. But to me, it makes more sense that the CJ-2A would have a glove box versus the MB. You know, you've got like registration and insurance and whatnot to keep in there. But yeah, they did not include that on the 2A.
Now, another thing you were telling me on our video about the 2A is that the 2A, you mentioned cutting costs, and there's a lot of items on this that were optional, including the passenger seat. And that's not the case with the MB. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, the MB though, the government was the customer. So the government, they paid whatever. They were paying with taxpayer dollars. So all these seats, the front passenger seat, the driver's seat, the top, that all came standard on every MB. But on the 2A, all this stuff was optional, from the front passenger seat to the top. If you wanted anything more than just a basic driving vehicle, you had to pay for it.
All right, let's take a look at the back of these Jeeps. What's going on at the back of the MB that's going to be different from the civilian model?
So I think the biggest difference is the MB just has a solid rear panel that provides a really rigid spot for mounting the jerry can as well as the spare tire. You'll also notice it's got a socket for hooking up a trailer. Now we come over to the CJ-2A, and since the CJ-2A was designed for agricultural use, they wanted to make sure that they had a tailgate. So they put a tailgate in the back, got rid of that fixed rear panel, which required moving the spare tire to the side. And I mentioned the trailer socket on the MB. Now the CJ-2A, they actually reused a lot of the tooling from the MB. And so you'll notice this blank block off plate. This actually blocks off the hole for the trailer socket. So if you were to remove this, you could actually put in the trailer socket from the MB, but as it came from the factory, there was literally just a delete plate covering that hole up. And then you also notice, since this was marketed and sold to farmers, it's got a nice drawbar hitch and then this rear power takeoff gearbox. Okay, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. These two Jeeps are both magnificent pieces of history, and there's a lot to be said about the things that are similar and the things that are different between the two. Thank you so much, Brandon, for showing me these Jeeps. Now, you restored both of these, is that correct? Yep, correct.
And there's a story there, and we don't have to get into that because there's actually two other videos about these Jeeps. One where we get a lot more in depth on the MB, and one where we get a lot more in depth on the CJ. Now, you can see these videos on the Gone Jeepin' YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something. I know I certainly did. I'm seeing these Jeeps in a completely different light, and I hope that you are as well. So thank you. If I don't see you here, I'll see you on the trail.
All right, thanks, guys.